Good morning, I am Dr. Suraiya Shahin and today I will teach you Chaucer's literary works in 3 periods. In UGC NET examination, they ask you questions from Chaucer's literary works which were published in 3 periods, and so you must know in detail about Chaucer's literary works which he wrote in 3 periods. What they give you in the examination, they give you the title of the work and they ask you a question that in which period Chaucer wrote this particular work, and they give you the options and then you have to select the correct answer, right? So you must know about Chaucer's literary works written in 3 periods. I will tell you in detail about all the works. Now, Chaucer wrote his works in 3 periods. Chaucer wrote his works in 3 periods. The French period, second is the Italian period, and third is the English period. So these are the 3 periods in which Chaucer wrote all his works. So now I talk about the French period and the works written in the French period. And the first work written in the French period is the Romance of the Rose. In this book, the Romance of the Rose, Chaucer was influenced by 2 French writers. And these 2 French writers were de Loris and de Meung. This is also a very important point. Actually, de Loris and de Meung had jointly written the famous allegorical book Roman de la Rose. So Chaucer translated this book under the title Romance of the Rose, the Romance of the Rose. Clear? Next is the Book of the Duchess. Chaucer wrote the Book of the Duchess as an elegy on the death of the Duchess Blanche of Lancaster, and she was the wife of John of Gaunt. This is also a very important point. They also ask about the title of the work and also about on whom this book was written, right? So this book, the Book of the Duchess, was written on the death of Duchess Blanche of Lancaster. And who was she? She was the wife of John of Gaunt. So you must know it. The poems in this book focus on natural charm, freshness, liveliness, and a sense of reality. Sometimes they also ask you the title of the minor works written in any particular period. So I tell you the minor works written in the French period. And the first is the ABC. This book is a translation of a French Mariam poem by Guillaume. It is written in 8-line stanza. Each stanza begins with a different letter of the alphabet. Next work is The Complaint unto Pity. Chaucer used the rhyme royal in it. And rhyme royal is made of 7 lines and usually written in iambic pentameter, right? So sometimes question is also asked that what type of work is and in which form that is written. So you must know the Complaint unto Pity is written in rhyme royal and in iambic pentameter. Clear? Next work is The Complaint of Mars. Clear? And fourth is Queen Annelida. Clear? So these are the works Chaucer wrote under the French period. Now the next period is the Italian period. Between 1372 to 1378, Chaucer came into contact with Petrarch and Boccaccio and got influenced by them. So the books he wrote in Italian period is first Troilus and Cresside. Chaucer's Troilus and Cresside is the longest poem written in 8200 lines and in rhyme royal form. This is a very important point. Keep in the mind that Troilus and Cresside was the longest poem written in 8200 lines and it's written in rhyme royal form. Although this is a tragedy and is known for its comical character Pandarus. Clear? So this book Troilus and Cresside is based on Boccaccio's feel straight. This is a very important point. When the writer is influenced by some other writer, then you must know that point, that because in UGC NET examination they usually ask such type of question. So they can ask you that in Travelers and Cressida, Chaucer is influenced by whom. So you must know that this book, The Travelers and Cressida, is based on Boccaccio's Fil Estrecho. Clear? Next work is The Parliament of Fowls. This is an allegory and written in the honor of Richard II's marriage with Anne of Bohemia in 1382. This work, The Parliament of Fowls, is an allegory and it is written in the honor of Richard II's marriage with Anne of Bohemia in 1382. And this proved a milestone leading to the creation of the Canterbury Tales. Next is The House of Fame. The House of Fame is a very important work. Chaucer was influenced by Dante in writing this book, The House of Fame. As Litigate later called this work, The House of Fame, Dante in English. Litigate called Chaucer's work, The House of Fame, Dante in English. And this book also contains some autobiographical essence like Chaucer's personal taste, his reading habits and his marital life. Clear? So you have to keep in the mind in this work that the House of the Fame, Chaucer was mainly influenced by Dante, right? Next work is The Legend of Good Women. This book is an allegory. The Legend of Good Women, this book is an allegory and it contains the poet's personal sentiments. Chaucer wrote this poem on the Queen of Bohemia. Again, very important point. Keep in the mind that this book, The Legend of Good Women, Chaucer wrote it on the Queen of Bohemia. This book has many highly impressive passages written in artificial style, light humor and noble sentiments. Clear? So these are the works which he wrote in Italian period. Clear? Now I talk about the English period. This is also a very important period in Chaucer's life. This period, the English period, is the most progressive and flowering period of Chaucer's genius as an immortal writer. In this period, the English period, he wrote the masterpiece of literature, and that is the Canterbury Tales. Very important book. In this book, the Canterbury Tales, Chaucer has created 29 pilgrims. And in this book, the Canterbury Tales, he was influenced by Boccaccio's Decameron. This is a very important point. Keep in the mind that in his Canterbury Tales, he was influenced by Boccaccio's Decameron. Dryden said for the Canterbury Tales, here is God's plenty. Dryden has very much appreciation for Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. That's why he said, here is God's plenty. All the pilgrims in this book, the Canterbury Tales, assembled in Tabard Inn in Southwark, and they were bound to visit the shrine of Saint Thomas of Becket of Canterbury. Total 120 tales were planned to tell the story, 2 stories in going and 2 in returning. But only 24 tales were told. Only 24 tales were told. 120 tales were planned to narrate, but 24 tales were told, in which 22 tales were in verse and 2 tales were in prose. The first tale was The Knight's Tale. This is also a very important point from your UGC NET examination point of view. They can ask you the question that who narrated the first tale and who narrated the last tale in the Canterbury Tales. So you must know that the first tale was The Knight's Tale and it was the longest tale. The Knight's Tale was the longest tale and the Parson's Tale was the last tale. Parson's Tale was the last tale. So Chaucer wrote the Canterbury Tales in heroic couplet and rhyme iambic pentameter. Okay, so these are the three periods in which Chaucer wrote all his works: the French period, the Italian period, and the English period. Clear? Thank you.